and I cried, and I was in the bath.
One scene was such a headache to film, Daniel Radcliffe suffered 2 ear infections. Filming the epic Harry Potter saga, the cast faced loads of challenges. The painful, the awkward, and the mentally draining. Today, we're taking a look at the least pleasant scenes these actors had to film in the wizarding world. Which actor felt such distress filming, they thought their heart stopped beating?
Because we were both nervous, and we both knew we were nervous.
The Harry Potter actors, particularly the trio of Harry, Ron, and Hermione, had to film some pretty terrifying scenes, and sometimes they even had to face real-life fears of their own. Poor Ron has to face his fear of creepy, crawly spiders in very nerve-wracking situations. Regular spiders are bad enough. Ron had to face one that was larger than life as well.
I'm really scared of spiders.
For the actor, there wasn't much acting being done during these scenes. The only false note would have been any sense of calm. Rupert Grint has more in common with Ron than fiery red hair. Both struggle with arachnophobia, an intense fear of spiders.
So I didn't know really what to expect.
Filming these scary scenes was a total nightmare for Grint. We can't imagine he watches those scenes back too often.
It's absolutely terrifying.
Looking back at the earlier Harry Potter films, in particular the very first one, can be a very frustrating experience for Emma Watson. The actress hated the way her hair was styled throughout the filming of the first movie and thinks it looks awful. The puffiness and mess of the hair weren't natural to the actress at all, and being so young, she really wasn't a fan of the unfortunate look. The Hermione actress never felt great while she was filming in her scenes since she was feeling self-conscious due to the annoying and geeky hair.
It's not easy. I thought it would be so much easier. I thought it would be.
When Harry, Ron, and Hermione escape through the sky from Gringotts on top of a dragon, it seems like there couldn't be any better feeling in the world. Shortly after the fact, when they get dropped into a lake, well, this wasn't a scene that had the actors feeling particularly good. Since later in the movie the actors have to change, they weren't able to wear any layers underneath their clothing to keep warm after plunging into a frigid lake. The filming for this scene took place deep in the winter months. We're talking January, February, so the water was unbearably freezing. To make it that much worse, the water in the lake couldn't be heated at all either, so the actors had to struggle trying to perform and breathe normally in these trying conditions. For Watson, it was one of the absolute worst experiences she had filming. Rupert Grint actually struggled so much at one point he was terrified because he felt as if his heart had stopped beating.
If anything, he feels more dangerous.
Just watching Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire is an intense experience. We absolutely feel for the actors who had to deal with rough weather, daring stunts, and extremely emotional scenes. For Radcliffe, the worst scenes to film for the 4th installment were the ones underwater, as part of the Triwizard Tournament. To prepare for these daring scenes, Radcliffe had to undergo intense diving lessons to make sure he could perform what was needed as safely as possible. The stress didn't end there, though. Unfortunately, it took a full 6 weeks of torture to finally capture all the footage that was needed for the movie. In total, Radcliffe dealt with a full 41 hours underwater filming. That amount of time in combination with the freezing temperatures were pretty rough on the actor physically. Radcliffe wound up suffering 2 bad ear infections as a result of the rough filming conditions.
A bit frustrating was the fact that communication is obviously quite difficult.
While Daniel Radcliffe played a total Quidditch star, he wasn't such a fan of shooting any of the high-flying scenes throughout the films. Sure, the novelty was cool at first. Which 10-year-old wouldn't want to pretend to fly on a broomstick? Unfortunately, it wasn't all it was cracked up to be, and there were some serious downsides to sitting on brooms for hours at a time, including numb buns. Radcliffe was often in pain while filming and dreaded every time he had to mount his broom, which wasn't much more than that. A hard broom. Instead of feeling like they were on top of the world, the Quidditch players resented sitting on the uncomfortable and impractical devices. One might think looking back could bring some sense of fondness or longing to have another go at it, but according to Radcliffe, it's not something I'd rush back to.
Just because you made the team last year does not guarantee you a spot this year, is that clear?
Bonnie Wright got to show off some amazing skills when Dumbledore's army was hard at work in the Room of Requirement. While the actress enjoyed performing those scenes, the experience of filming them wasn't her favorite because of the magical room itself. Wright felt extremely claustrophobic in the space, which was only made worse by the fact that some scenes saw tons of people needing to be in the same room at the same time. For the actress, the crowding and anxiety became too much to handle, and she was left feeling totally hysterical.
The memories are too strong, I think, for all of us.
The Room of Requirement really wasn't all it was cracked up to be. Bonnie Wright's on-screen older twin brothers, James and Oliver Phelps, hated having to film scenes on the dreaded set. Not because it was too overcrowded, but because they got way too hot. The actors claimed the set was often extremely warm, and combined with the warm sweaters they had to wear, the twins overheated while filming. The result may look brilliant, but in reality, the set was a sweaty nightmare and the actors hated having to do it, even though the content was pretty incredible.
Well done, everyone. Great work.
We all love to hate Dolores Umbridge, and while the actress plays the cruel and vicious woman extremely convincingly, the performance came at a cost. Imelda Staunton loved working on the franchise, but after filming intensely mean scenes, she didn't always feel very good. One scene in particular put her over the edge. The actress was left feeling really awful for a couple of days after filming this scene, with the most painful line session we've ever seen. She realized people could be capable of such vile behavior.